Test 1, 2, 3. Test. Test 1, 2, 3. Let me see. Test 1, 2, 3. Voice seems good. Or maybe not. Let me check real quick. Okay, let me. Hmm. Let me check real quick. Test this. Okay. Sounds clear enough, I think. Alright. Okay. I think we are ready for today's reaction to Wuthering Wave 2.7 review. My name is Lazy Constantine, and today, as I just said, I'll be reacting to the preview. We're gonna be discussing of like what is to come, whether it's the content, the story. We're gonna make some predictions. We're gonna go through the list of like what is to come. And without further ado, it's time for me to skip forward into the last minute. Gonna let everyone enjoy the Avengers Assemble moment right here. We're actually bringing everyone in. Interesting. Oh, okay. Even in the preview, there's already like a glimpse of like what's to come. Like, look at the sky. It's crackling. So I'm wondering if this is like a different dimension. Maybe even like part of like chaos, which is like the dimension between life and death, right? That we've been shown in the in the main quest, like in the second part of the main quest. So I'm wondering if like Leviathan's kind of like journeying paradise is kind of resides in chaos. Especially during the Frolova story, we were transported to like a different dimension, right? Like some sort of like a sonorosphere, but they didn't really specify it as a sonorosphere. But you know, all will be. I think it will be really great if they don't really spoil us with what is to come, like all of them. Like I think it will be great if the preview is actually a preview and they would just only put in bits of pieces that would like give some context but not the whole picture. But yeah, like I cannot believe they're already like doing this like even before the stream actually started. This is kind of crazy. Wait, why is Qi Yuan here? Aren't Qi Yuan supposed to be character from Huanglong? It's really weird.
Do not mistake this for triumph.
It's really weird because like I feel like so far Chuyan will be the only like Guanglong character that actually arrives in it, like that would actually be joining Rinasita's like whole finale, which I think makes I don't know how they're gonna explain that. Maybe they'll show us like as we watch more of the preview, but for now we should keep on moving. By the way, I'm gonna speed up the video a bit because I don't want to be not wasting, but I don't want to be spending too much time on like all the small talks. I would probably like skips around, like especially in the parts that are like not important or kind of filler or like time limited thing, because I know my reaction is kind of late and the stream already happened like I don't know, like 12 hours ago or something. But yeah, let's keep going now.
This battle will not end until one of us is dead.
Dang. Hot cosplayer. Let's go.
Let the gunshots ring.
If evil, why hot? Okay, so first of all, I feel like this is Septimon, at least from the way it looks. It is somewhat resemblance of Septimon, and yet it doesn't feel like it. I don't know. I'm wondering if this is the Journeying Paradise, like the castle, and that like they took a lot of like basically like Leviathan when creating the Journeying Paradise. They made it resembling like kind of like Septimons, because like this feels really familiar, like in the especially in the Augustus like intro like Gacha animation where she was pulling the sword like at the end. I feel like this is kind of like reminiscence of that, at least like this, especially this building like seems really similar to like the sword, and like overall archis- architecture architecture is kind of like similar to the Septimon, but it's not the same because Septimons have all this like statues on them, kind of like the Guardians, and like so far, at least like from this picture alone, I haven't seen any of like those Guardian statues. But I'm also wondering if this is going to be like a new map area.
Hello，漂泊者们，晚上好。欢迎来到明朝2.7版本前瞻通讯，我是主持人谢小豹。今天
Oh, is there a subtitle? And like even 10% is fast.
我将与2位策划一起为漂泊者们带来明朝2.7版本的
She actually speaks fast. That's why.
游戏内容。那么，先来和漂泊者们打个招呼吧。
漂泊者们，晚上好，我是 Q 策划。大家好呀。
You can kind of tell that first of all, Crescent, the girl earlier, she's really used to hosting. She's really used to being in public, while the other people so far, like the developers that like has to be on the show to like talk about and stuff, you can kind of tell that they're much more stiff and much more not used to being like in the public, like in the public, in front of public.
我是明朝项目组的策划西瓜，很高兴。
So you can kind of tell that like these are the developers, and this person specifically is like kind of like a professional host, or like at least even if not a host, at least there's someone that's already used to being in public.
战通讯可以与漂泊者们一起分享2.7版本的相关讯息。
终于，我们来到了2.7。听说在2.7版本中，我们将迎来黎娜西塔的最终章。那2位有没有什么最新爆料？赶紧跟大家说说。之前我们可是看到了一个非常剑拔弩张的画面哦，究竟是怎么一回事呢？
这一幕确实是个信息量很大的画面，我们可以先给大家小小的透露一点。 相信老朋友卡提西亚，我们已经很
老朋友
熟悉了。
卡特提亚
作为曾经的黎纳西塔圣女，她是岁主与明氏共同的共鸣者。而在卡提西亚的对面，展开黑色羽翼、手持双枪向着她发起攻击的，则是猎魔人加贝丽娜。猎魔人
Discord Slayer, a hunter
也就是专门
specialized
狩猎
in
残像
tacit
的猎人。
Discord.
狩猎残像和七丘的狩猎是一样的
So if she's hunting like tacit Discords, why would she attack Kartatia?
吗？
Is it because like technically Kartatia is quote unquote, well, not even quote unquote, like technically Kartatia is the creation of Leviathan and Imperator, right? So technically, maybe like in a way, she is like a tacit Discord.
不错的猜想。这一次呢，加贝丽娜要狩猎的目标非常特别，正是明氏。
那加贝丽娜为什么会对卡提西亚发起攻击呢？她到底是敌是友？我记得之前卡提西亚有提到过，她体内的力量已经开始失衡，倾斜于明氏的一侧。会不会就是因为这个，让许久未回到黎纳基塔的加贝丽娜对此产生了误会，进而出现了画面里的情况？
这个嘛，关于她的传说众说纷纭。也有人说，她虽然自称为猎魔人，但却被目睹过曾与诸多残像为伴，率领他们一同行军。我们也就不在此给大家剧透太多，一切缘由将在新版本里一一为大家揭晓。
不过除此
She's been marching with tacit Discord. I wonder if she's in the similar like special circumstances, kind of like Prolova in a way. Because like it seems like her hand, part of her hand, is like evolved into like a tacit Discord like, and as we've known before, it is possible with Prolova, which is like half tacit Discord and half human, and half like resonator. And also we've known that like based from the 2.6 story that like Galbrina is technically angel, and that she was something happened between her and the dark tide before, which causes her to awaken this like massive like resonance energy and power, right? So honestly, like so far, we can kind of like craft a few theory, but like there's no exact details.
此以外，我们还是有一些新型情报可以透露给大家。在2.7版本，我们将重新回到许久未见的拉古纳，再次与老朋友们相见。但目前的拉古纳与以往欢快的氛围截然不同。
是的，最近啊，很多拉古纳人都做起了一些奇怪的梦。虽说具体的梦境内容不尽相同，但在梦里，人们都梦见了同一个画面：黎纳西塔的覆灭。而在漂泊者带着匣子的疑问重返拉古纳时，似乎也遇到了类似的情况，以及还有很多奇怪的现象蔓延在拉古纳乃至七丘。黎纳西塔的确藏着某种我们尚未知晓的巨大秘密，或者是威胁。
哦，越来越扑朔迷离了。那么这一切究竟是梦境的预示，还是现实的倒影？黎纳西塔的命运之轮。
That question was already brought up in the Yuno's quests, right? When he was getting all these visions and like the murals on the walls were changing, and Rover was like, "Is this a revelation of what's supposed to come, or is this like kind of like, or is this the reality being changed? Is this fake or is this real in a way, right?"
吗？这一
See,
切
a warning of what is to
究
come,
竟是梦境的预示，还是现实的倒影
or？ a reflection or reality, or is it already happening, or is this the truth, or is this like a warning?
黎纳西塔的命运之轮将实现。
Wait, oh no, that's a bit different, I guess. I guess if it's a warning or a reflection or reality, it actually means is this what is to come, or is this something that already happened, right? Is it the past or is it the future?
向何方？接下来就让我们带着这些疑问，来看看全新版本 PV《暗潮僵硬的黎明》，找寻线索吧。
This blood. It should be enough. How much time has passed?
No path to take. No way to go.
Oftentimes, it isn't hell that people fear. They fear fear itself. And that creates hell. See you all in hell.
Okay. So this, I feel like these are both journeying paradise. So I think, actually, I think this is kind of like, here's my theory. This is Imperator's building, and this is the journeying paradise. And I think the reason it's called the journeying paradise because it is because it's a paradise that is like on a journey. It's literally like, it's in literal sense a moving paradise, and is trying to break from I'm assuming from like chaos, like a different dimension, maybe like possibly chaos, and is trying to break into this dimension through this specifically, through the like the building that Imperator has made before. That is my assumption so far. And Galbrana seems to be involved in this. I'm wondering if there's like something. I wonder if this is like, rather than her being a full villain, I wonder if they're just like they have some sort of like an aligned goal. Because Galbrana doesn't seem to be like in like being controlled. Like the way she talks and everything like that, it feels like she's like super confident.
Come, little lamb. Open your eyes. Sharpen your...
Yeah, this is definitely not Septimon then. It looks similar, but also it's all destroyed. I don't think this is Septimon. Maybe this is like a different, like older, like Rinascita city. After all, like they did say that Rinascita used to have like three, kind of like have like three city states. But I doubt like that the third city states is like a destroyed city. They wouldn't call it a state otherwise. Like they would only call it a city state if it still exists and still being used, right? So I don't think this would be a third city states. It must be something that has to do with Septimon, because it's much more similar to Septimon than it is to Rinascita. Not Rinascita, Raguna. I mean, it's like the same. It bears more similarities with Septimon.
It's time.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something else. You can kind of tell this is like definitely something else. This is not Septimon.
We journey into the underworld.
We're getting a closer look now. So assuming by the way these cliffs look, this is gonna be like in the Zanguis Plateau. And the sword, I don't know why. It's so similar to the imagery that we get from like the Augusta's animation. Like a sword being stabbed.
To try and stop me. But me? I'm not stopping this hunt anytime soon.
Did she just shoot people with her legs? Sign me up, bro. What the fuck? Okay, from the way her animation looks so far, she seems closer to I want to say like Carlotta and Giacona rather than like Chisha. So I'm guessing like they're gonna be sticking with these like this like gun character design, I guess, like where like the gun character feels closer to like a melee character rather than like an actual gun character. But I think I'm actually happy that she actually uses her gun. Kuro, Giacona, like she actually uses her fucking gun and we can actually see it.
Tainted hellfire!
Devour them all!
By my trigger! Enter hell's gates!
I don't know why, but that sounds like a reference for Devil May Cry. You know, pull my devil's trigger. Devil, hell, and triggers. And also she had a lot of style. She does remind me a lot of like Dante slash like Nero, where they have like a lot of like this flair while moving. I think probably close. Yeah, a bit of both, I'd say.
You creatures lurking in the dark, I'll show you what the real darkness looks like. Off with you. Stars realigned.
They're going all in on the 3D showcase. I love it. Because like a lot of the time we would see the Resonator reveal being of like a 3D to 2D transitions, which is cool. I'm not saying it's bad, but doing something like this, right? I think kind of signifies how much confidence they have on the 3D model they make. So I think this is personally a good step a good step in the right direction, because like at the end of the day this is a 3D game. I would really love to have the 3D characters looking exactly like how the art, like the art design are supposed to look, especially with the technology that we have nowadays, right? Where I would always have a lot of this complaint about like how like Japanese games always feels outdated in terms of like technology and graphics and like gameplay. And I'm kind of glad that like Kuro games are like kind of like trying to break that kind of like stigma in a way with this, like the amount of effort and like flowing and like details that they put in the character. Obviously it's not one to one. If you look at the actual like PNG art, like the 2D art, there's gonna be like much more accessories and like stuff like that, and a lot more detail on the hair, for example. But like this, I want to say like 90-95% close to like the actual 2D art probably. So I would be like more than happy to take that.
Mandate calls. Judgment falls.
Leviathan, I will deliver you her death.
I will deliver you her death. So this can mean two things so far. Is that she want to kill Leviathan through killing Kartatia, which makes sense because Imperator talked about it during the 2.0, right? Was it 2.0 or 2.2? I think 2.2 in the when we were like the maiden, the scry and something like that. I forgot the name of the mission, but they talk about like how since she's the vessel of both Imperator and Leviathan, killing her would actually kill Leviathan because they would have no vessels at all. Even though like technically Trinodian and Sentinels are like just a concept, right? You cannot kill a concept technically. But I think like last time in their main quest, Imperator and like Leviathan are kind of like a special case because they are kind of bound into this body, like by Imperator's design, like kind of like Imperator's trap back then. And Imperator already died technically, sacrificing herself to bring back Fleur de Lis. But bringing back Fleur de Lis slash Cartatia also allows Leviathan to kind of survive, like scrape by, right? Even though Rover last time already like saved her slash like kind of like free her, but like you cannot fully free someone that like you cannot erase blood relation, I guess, in a way. It's like once you're like someone's like son or daughter or children, like you cannot stop being their kids. You cannot like disown your you can disown your families from the in the papers in the paperworks, right? But you cannot disown them genetically, like biologically. So I guess in a way that's how Leviathan has been like surviving so far, and that's why their influence is still around despite already being quote unquote killed during that mission.
Protect the civilization capsule. That's what they're really after.
Prisoner's scar of Jin.
Oh. Oh, I see. So they really want to. So I think Albrena is kind of like an anti-hero, in which like she really wants to kill the Chernodian, and like I think like that. I think my theory there like holds true. Like it's kind of looking strong so far. Is that like she's trying to kill the Chernodian through killing Kartatia. So basically against our will. Like, you know, like back then we were given the same choice, and Kartatia told us the same thing, right? So I think Albrena here is trying to do what we didn't want to do back then. And Chuyan here, I guess the reason they brought Chuyan into Rina Sita is because he is chasing Scar that managed to escape from Jinzhou. But I was hoping that they would also showcase kind of like the Jinzhou character, especially like maybe like Jinxi or Sanhua would be calling Rover and be like, hey, like we've noticed that like Scar is actually gone. Because like so far the only character that have actually seen Scar is Kartatia, right? Like Rover hasn't actually seen them, so it would be nice for like Rover to be informed that like Scar has been like Scar is missing, and that's why like we've sent support, and like Chiyan got introduced or something like that. I think at least I guess at least I think that's how they're gonna try to introduce him.
Surrender now.
You're too late, defender of Huanglong. Beneath the
And she's also back. It shows that she is actually truly immortal.
dark tide, it stirs once more. All hope will be swept away. Annihilation. Right on time.
And also the song there, it kind of feels like Avenger Infinity War. So I'm wondering if this is really truly the finale. Or so there's two ways that goes around this. Either 2.7 is going to be truly the final story. Oh no, wait, no. Either like the 2.7 is going to be like first part of the story, like Infinity Wars, and then the end game is like 2.8, or they're gonna break it just like 2.6, where like the first part is gonna be Infinity War, and then the second banner, the second half of the patch is gonna be Endgame. I'm hoping for the latter because I don't want to wait a whole different patch just to see an ending. So I would personally really hope that it'll be like the latter, where like they split it into two first half, second half of the patch, just like they did with the 2.6.
版本 PV 的确给出了很大的信息量啊，而且不得不说，哇，好多人啊，大家都在这里集结了。
没错，与敌人的决战终于要来了，想来还是有些感慨的。自2.0版本，我们来到黎纳西塔，一路上真的经历了很多啊。
是的，从踏进拉古纳城的那天开始，我们走过了拉古纳城、黎乔利群岛、阿维纽林神学院，再进入七丘征战大决斗赛，并参与了七丘狩猎。
I think what's amazing for me for Crew Games so far is that like how many new areas they've introduced into the game so far. Like within the span of like 2 patches, they've introduced like multiple like new regions, right? And each are like super big. Even the smallest one, which would probably something like Riccioli Island, right? Is still pretty fast, like pretty like wide, right? Especially with like the whole new mechanic of like fishing and stuff like that. And I'm kind of glad that as a gacha game, we can kind of see that like where the money is going, right? A lot of people like, especially like one of my friend who loves gacha games, or like at least like Japanese gacha games, that always told me that like, oh, they spend a lot on like the marketing and like the the community and hiring like all this like live events and stuff like, and I think that's fine. But I think the problem for me would be two things. Is that like first of all, like the medium is the game is actually the main medium, right? That people would interact. So I would love for like for these companies that are making like millions per month, like every month, to be like investing more in that medium. And second of all, like like investing in live events and stuff are good and all, but like for the most part, like people outside of like the main region of the game itself. For example, like if it's a Japanese gacha game, then like a lot of the events usually only happen in Japan. And if it's a Chinese game, then a lot of the live events gonna happen in like China. And like I'm someone that doesn't live in those countries, so like I don't get to enjoy it. Like and then like the best way for them to serve the community would actually, I think, to improve their game, because that's the medium that kind of like brings everyone together in the first place, right? It's like the whole like it's like the place where everyone gathers, whether you are like a casual player or like a casual hardcore or like a full on sweat or like a dedicated like lore, like lore master. you know Everyone is going to be definitely like play the game in order to know more, and in order to get into the other things. For example, like once you play the game, now you're going to expect an anime of it, or you're going to buy the merch, and you're going to attend the live events and stuff like that. And I think that that's like the biggest part of, like, it should be the biggest focus of their game, of the company, and I'm kind of glad that they are doing that. And I really hope more companies does that, because I would love to see better games. That's all. Like, I'm a gamer at the end of the day, I'm a gamer. I want my games to be good. And I'm glad to see like they're definitely pushing the boundaries in like earlier I said, like the details of the model, the graphics, the gameplay, the new maps, and the technology in those maps, like the game, like ray tracing and stuff like that. That's like something that I've never heard of happening in a gacha game, like a ray tracing and like high end like graphical features. Well, obviously, I still wish that they would do more with it. For example, like introducing like kind of like a DLC system where PC games maybe get PC players gets to maybe gets a special settings for like the polygons, for example, like a more either like a higher settings or a more granular control on those settings. I feel like that would be great, because a lot of people, I think like there's a lot of like comment about like how like most people that play Wuthering Wave would probably play it on a PC, just because of like how intensive the game is. So you might as well I think you might as well like serve that community and kind of like commit, right?
一路上，我们认识了很多伙伴，并与他们一起留下了种种难忘的经历。在之前呢，我们成功拿到了罪主英白拉多留下的文明之匣，但黎纳西塔水面之下的阴影也一直没有彻底的解决。明示利维亚坦的阴谋仍在黑暗中不停侵蚀着文明，黎纳西塔需要一个彻底的了结。
而作为黎纳西塔的完结篇，我们将在2.7版本暗潮将映的黎明中，与一路相伴的伙伴们一起直面黎纳西塔最终的危机。而利维亚坦所创造的寻幽天国，这座在黑潮世界的尽头悬浮的巨大天国，将成为我们的最终战场。除此以外，相信大家也在 PV 中注意到了一个新的面孔。
等很久了，就等你们说了。看他的装束，应该是来自黄龙的剑客。
不错，这位神秘的剑客啊，来自黄龙，名为裘远，他也为漂泊者带来了一份意想不到的助力。
据球员所说呀，他是受明平命令追捕逃犯而来。不过黄龙至黎纳西塔长路漫漫，他究竟遇到了什么？发生了什么，也将在2.7版本中为大家逐步展开。
he seems like he's a much more older character compared to the rest of the cast. I want to say he's probably closer to like Kalchara's age probably, or like a Yuanwu's age, which I think I'm kind of glad like that they introduced like older characters, especially like given that like all like a lot of the older characters that they've designed, like Kuro games have designed so far, has been like, really good looking, and I kind of wish that they would be playable even as like a 4-star. Um, but also, it would be really funny if like the way, the way that like Chuyen arrives in Rina Sita is like actually he would like run. Actual like if because like you guys see earlier in the showcase, right, where he was like running in the air and stuff, kind of like typical like wuxia stuff, like Chinese martial arts stuff. I kind of wish that he would actually run in the air, like throughout the sea, like all the way from like Huanglong to Rina Sita. It would be so good.
在2.7版本中，潮汐任务第2章第10幕已逝的必将归来。潮汐任务第2章第11幕暗潮将因。
Okay, so it seems that I was right. It's gonna be the acts are gonna be separated into two. So it's gonna be like probably it's most likely it's gonna be like part 1, part 2 again.
的黎明将于10月9日开放，黎纳西塔明式复苏，黑潮爆发。 漂泊者将与伙伴们一起直面黑潮。
Oh wait, no, they didn't say. They only said one date, so I guess not.
向明世发起最后的冲锋。此外
，Okay, so like I guess they kind of already spoiled us a bit that eventually Galbrena is gonna be on our side and stop attacking Kartetia, I guess. Let's see a bit.
明世复苏，黑潮爆发。 漂泊者将与伙伴们一起。
Oh wait, you don't see Kartetia.
直面黑潮，向明世发起。
They specifically didn't show Kartetia in this scene. I wonder what I guess they kind of don't. Well, they kind of half spoiled us then, because they spoiled us the fact that like Galbrena is gonna join our side. And at the same time, they didn't show Kartetia's fate. So here, but like at the same time, they kind of do, because like the fact that Rover is still fine with her around kind of shows that Kartetia is probably like either like unharmed or under the control of the Leviathan. It's one of the two, because especially I think like the clue would be like how like Kartetia has been leaning more and more toward the Trinodian. So maybe Galbrena tried to stop that, and then like instead of stopping it, like Galbrena's attacks or like confrontation causes her to actually lose control and actually go full on Trinodian. And then now Galbrena joins in with Rover in order to stop that. Although like, you know, instead of like trying to kill her this time, like Rover would be definitely like telling her to like, hey, we gotta save her. We're not here to kill her. We're you know, we're just here to we just need to incapacitate her, you know.
最后的冲锋。此外，幕间潮汐序文独在异乡为异客将于10月30日开放。漂泊者可以从神秘的黄龙剑客裘远的视角了解这场决战更多的细节。除此之外，还会洞悉一些不曾为人所知的故事。
暗潮将至，黎明将起，漂泊者们一起见证黎纳西塔的终章吧。
那么接下来关于全新共鸣者的情报，想必2位已经准备好了吧？
当然。不过在此之前，
想必2位已经准备好了吧？
当然。不过在此之前，我们先给漂泊者们送上本次前瞻通讯的第1个兑换码吧。请大家在兑换码有效期内，在游戏内设置界面进行兑换。
Alright, here's the first code for people who hasn't redeemed it yet. Feel free to copy it, and then let me actually type it for you guys, and then I'm gonna skip ahead because, you know. There you go. All you have to do is copy that, and then we're gonna move on to the continuation.
漂泊者们，欢迎回来。那接下来话不多说，首先为大家介绍的是勇火恒然的恶魔，也是猎魔人加贝丽娜。
加贝丽娜。The wings look eerily similar to Rover's wings, except Rover wings kind of like lights up, I think, but hers are fully kind of like a crow. And in a way, it kind of feels like Chimera, right? Where like there's fire first of all, there's wings, and there's like a goat-like creature coming out, which is like, you know, she's the lioness, for example. It's kind of like symbolism of like Chimera in a way, or maybe it is like designed based on the Chimera.
冷酷飒爽、干净利落，是加贝丽娜给别人的第一印象。而她身上那个标志性的单侧羽毛披肩，在特定情况下可以转变为展开的翅膀。
它的翅膀上还有火焰在熊熊燃烧呢。另外，它的身侧边还跟着一只残象。
他身边的这只残象名为奇美拉。说到它的来头，可不小。
没错，利维亚坦会拙劣地模仿碎主为回音生物塑形的行为，为自己创造忠诚的眷属。而奇美拉正是由利维亚坦融合了狮子、羊与蛇这3种不同原型的强大残象。
Oh, I guess they literally just said it. A lion, goat, and a serpent. So I guess she's the serpent because of all this like a snake symbolism. And this thing is a goat. No, this is a lion with a goat horn.
频率创造出的
And also a snake body.
象。
他身边的这只残象名为
Okay, so the tacit discord, like her pet is literally Chimera.
说到它的来头，可不小。
没错，利维亚坦会拙劣地模仿碎主为回音生物塑形的行为，为自己创造忠诚的眷属。而奇美拉正是由利维亚坦融合了狮子、羊与蛇这3种不同原型的强大残像频率，创造出的第一只黑潮造物。至于它为何与加贝丽娜同行，
我知道了。再次需要让大家亲自去揭开。
哎，你已经上道了。
但可以透露的是啊，加贝丽娜是七丘人，小时候曾被黑潮吞噬，在漫长的与黑潮造物厮杀的时间里，她拥有了吞噬残像的能力，但也因为吸收了过多的残像，她的身体也产生了变化。
So in a way, she's kind of like Kartatia. She was stuck inside the dark side for a moment. So I guess like in that small moment in real life where she was swallowed by the dark tide, she kind of experienced what Kartatia experienced, where like she grew up inside like her power grew exponentially by fighting inside the dark tide.
身上常燃被黑潮污染的火焰，不只是羽毛，它能令自己的火焰附着于任何部位，化身被诅咒和烈焰包裹的猎杀者。
说起来，或许正因如此，身负恶火的他，有时也会需要吃一些喜欢的冰激凌来降降温。
冰淇淋。
他就这样突然掏出了冰棒，大口吃了起来。
狩猎残象要干脆利落，吃冰棒也要趁着没话吃。
他肩膀上那个是？
这个嘛，也需要漂泊者们跟随剧情揭晓啦。加贝丽娜是一名热熔属性的5星共鸣者，使用配枪作为武器。加贝丽娜的心性坚韧，得益于曾在七丘习得的武艺。她的战斗技艺强大，并且她可以利用奇美拉的能力进行。
I love that they brought back the original song again. If you guys didn't listen to that, didn't hear that, in the background there's like this like faint music of like the old login screen, like saving light, like kind of like the instrumental version of it. Like here, let me show it to you guys again.
他的战斗技艺强大，并且他可以利用奇美拉的能力进行战斗。在战斗中，加贝丽娜有着强大的战斗技巧，可以将枪械放置在她身体的不同部位并开枪。另外，她还可以将吸收过的残像力量 转化为火翼，展现不同的攻击姿态。加贝丽娜
That song is so good. Like I don't know why they couldn't include that. Like they didn't use it more during the whole game, especially in the final fight against and Dreamless. Like if that like when you awakened the Havoc and like you were using the Spectral and like Havoc, right? It would have been nice for that, like, cause like, literally the title is Saving Light. Like Swift and like with the power of the Spectral and stuff like that. That would have been such a good, like, I feel like they could definitely make it work. I'm not exactly like a game designer or anything like that. I don't know. I cannot give them the exact answer on where they should put it or anything like that. But I just had this gut feeling, right, that it would have perfectly fitted, and I really wish I had the skills to kind of display kind of like the scene that I have in my mind.
还会使用特制的双管猎枪对敌人进行攻击。当他释放特定攻击命中敌人时，可以逐渐积累能量。当获取了足够的能量后，加贝丽娜可以释放强化共鸣技能，转变形态。此时她全身燃起火焰，特定攻击时也会显现出实体羽翼，配合快速且强力的体术，让攻击变得更为凌厉。释放共鸣解放时，加贝丽娜会将奇美拉的力量存储入子弹中，对敌人射出强力一击，同时被子弹击穿的地面会溢出能量，持续攻击敌人，而此时的敌人也会被能量所控制。血性果敢，招式狠厉，在与黑潮造物与无数残像中厮杀生存的加贝丽娜，会毫不犹豫地选择燃尽自己的一切，只为把枪中的子弹精准地射入能狙杀敌人的靶心。在2.7版本中，全新5星配枪光影双生也将同步上线。
居然是
This is definitely very much inspired by Devil May Cry, Ebony and Ivory. I don't play a lot of like Devil May Cry, but like this is kind of iconic. So the fact that even like Lux and Umbra, that's like they definitely taken a lot of like inspiration from it. It kind of shows how much they love those games. I mean, like Kura Games made PGR, and PGR just straight up have a collab with Devil May Cry. So I guess like it wouldn't make sense for the. I kind of wish they would do it on like Wuthering Wave 2, because like they did so well with like the combat in like PGR. I feel like the only thing holding them back would probably be the technology that they're using in PGR, because they're using an older engine and like older game design and everything like that, right? Like imagine what they could have done in Wuthering Wave. Like like Dante and Virgil on like Wuthering Wave is gonna be straight up probably like 1-to-1 to like Devil May Cry game, because like the one that they have in the PGR is very faithful, but not 1-to-1. I think they have some of the moveset, like, but it's not like fully 100% transfer like 1-to-1. And I feel like with the technology that they have in Wuthering Wave, they can probably make it 1-to-1. Although I think it will be far too OP for the, like, they're gonna have to nerf their damage real hard if they were to do that. But who knows? We can still get it, I think there's the Cyberpunk collab coming in 2026, maybe 2027, like, assuming the game survives that long, which I really hope so. So far the quality has been really good. I really hope like they continue to do this, and they continue to like go to this direction and improving the game, and like pleasing both the fans and like pleasing the fans and gathering enough funds, obviously, to continue doing so. So I feel like it's a win-win situation. I want to say, I don't want to say it's a win-win. It's still gambling at the end of the day, but I want to say it's a fair-ish trade. That with the amount of money we spend on this game, we're getting this much more quality, at least compared to other games. Now there's still a lot that we've yet to see. For example, like the upcoming Gacha games also all have great graphics, and depending on how polished their gameplay would be, Wuthering Wave is about to have a lot of competition. So I really, not only do they need to keep up, they also need to step up even more. The competition never ends.
良 把不同形态的枪，黑枪色泽冷峻深邃，白枪光辉炽热坚定，非常帅气。
这对拥有恶魔与天使印记的双形态手枪，枪体造型凌厉独特，枪身上的印记如呼吸般摆动闪烁。黑白双枪唯有结合在一起，方能发挥最大的威力。而那永恒燃烧的异色火焰，也昭示着加贝丽娜与恶魔对抗的不惜决心。这对具有一定自我意识的活体武器，由加贝丽娜亲手铸造，能够与它相互感应，自动开枪。同时，为了契合自身的战斗风格，他还特意在枪身上铸造了锋利的刀刃，能够在不同战斗环境里为敌人带去致命伤口。当枪声响起时，异色的羽毛纷扬飘落，这是猎魔人降临的标志，亦是对猎物终局已至的宣告。
是一把非常契合加贝丽娜的武器，不愧由她亲手铸造。
那么介绍完加贝丽娜，接下来就给大家介绍即将在2.7版本登场的另一位新共鸣者——浪迹不定的孤剑球远吧。
That is so cool. He definitely has like he's 100% a freaking wuxia main character.
绿竹入幽径，青罗拂行衣。关于球远的故事，我们已经期待很久了。
这就来给大家介绍，球远曾是黄龙明田政府司成员，以前的他是黄龙明田的剑，剑不出鞘则已，出鞘就要见血。而现如今，他已经脱离明庭，独自行走于江湖之中，成为了一名浪迹江湖的剑客。
他看起来似乎有点少言寡语，而且眼睛看起来鲜少与我们对视。
没错，或许已经有漂泊者发现了，球远生来双眼不能视物，但他却有心境相助，能透过心中具象化的竹林，感知到外界的事物，勘破对手的心境。
Mindsight reveals opponent's intent and weakness. This is literally like if you're reading like a typical like isekai story or like a cultivation manhwa, right? Where like the main character are able to see through intent and like and the opponent's thoughts, and that's how they get through, and that's how like they win like against all odds and stuff like that, right? Like this is like straight up a wuxia character. And I'm all for it. I think like wuxia is like one of the Chinese kind of like culture that I really love reading about and listening and like watching. So like I'm really glad like, you know, after the kind of like subpar experience we were having with the earlier part of the game, especially in Huanglong, how like kind of like especially in 1.0 where like, you know, they were kind of trying to deliver, because like Huanglong is based on China, right? I mean, the name is obvious, but the fact that they kind of fumbled that the release version of the game so hard, I think that Qiyuan would be kind of like their they kind of like second chance of like and second attempt at like bringing the people's attention back into Huanglong and kind of like redeem themselves in a way, specifically for kind of like Chinese representation, right? And you know, so far from what I've seen, I'm all for it, bro.
和破绽，球员有着过人的武艺天赋，自幼便跟随师傅在山林中修行，并能与竹林风物产生共鸣，万物皆入心间竹韵。正所谓沉竹于胸，采竹为锋。有时他甚至不需要拔剑，一根清脆的竹枝就足够了。
听起来就是江湖高手。他本人也如同竹子一般清冷坚毅。
哎，怎么到这个环节，大家都突然开始说些4字词语了？
情难自禁嘛。
对了，他所携带的这个竹竿上挂着的到底是什么呢？
它是黑色的竹壶里装的，是一种能够催动它共鸣力的药。
Hey yo, what's hanging on this bamboo pole? Hey yo.
据说是崇州一位江湖郎中所配，只在必要时才会饮用。
那这位竹林剑客在战斗时会有怎样的表现呢？快来为大家介绍一下吧。
球野 是一名气动属性的5星共鸣者，使用的武器类型是驯刀。球员剑术高超，曾经遍观明庭，也少有敌手。其战斗招式潇洒老练，振幅沉静，一招一式皆融于水墨。
The superiority of like the sword characters, right? If you guys think about it, a lot of characters that are from Huanglong use a sword as their main weapon. And that's because I think, as far as like what limited knowledge I have about Chinese wuxia stuff, is that a sword is supposed to be the most balanced weapon in the entire arsenal, like in terms of lethality and control and swiftness. Like it's about if if you were to make a diagram between a weapon's kind of damage, speed, and kind of control, a sword would be balanced in all three. So that's why it's a lot of the time it using a sword is very much favored, especially if you're reading a lot of manhwas and stuff, a flying sword and stuff. You don't see you maybe sometimes see people using a pole blade and stuff like that, but for example, when a strong character arrives, they're when they reach the peak, for example, they would a lot of the times Chinese story would use a flying sword, for example, as a kind of the ultimate tier where people can control sword with their mind. And why didn't they do that with spears and or blades, right? That's because swords a lot of the time are the most favorite weapon for them.
竹林之中，虽目不能视，但是敌人的一举一动，在他心中的烛影摇曳中，洞若观火。球员的剑术。
There's this artistic kind of ink style, ink art style.
飘逸卓绝，以真化境。他身法飘逸，可以根据战斗时的情况来施展不同的共鸣。
Cinematic mode.
他可通过施展共鸣技能穿林打叶，使用身法向前方进行小范围的快速移动，握影随身，利落的斩击沿途敌人。而当敌人较远时，球员则可以通过施展共鸣技能不辞远，让心中的苍竹由此现于世间。此时的他可凭借轻功踏竹而行，远距离的奔袭至敌人身后，挥剑斩击。在战斗中，他还会饮下刚刚所提及的竹壶中的能够催动他心境和共鸣力的药液。球员会根据饮下药液的量来逐步催动自身体内的心境之力，对敌人展开不同的强化攻击。当使用强化重击时，他可以完全释放心境能力。随着整片竹林的具象化，球员能够感知万事万物，并结合自身飘逸的轻功和卓绝的剑术进行大范围的攻击。球员对自身剑术极为自信，因此在战斗中招式收放自如。在出招间隙，他可在婆娑竹林间或以竹暂歇，或挑剑化形。释放共鸣解放时，周身竹林骤然静止。球员将催动心境之力，以墨为剑刃，对敌人斩出致命一剑。此时此刻，空间被劈开之处，漫天墨雨倾泻，色彩急速褪去，唯余剑身一抹青绿。
真是行云流水的战斗，每一个动作都带着翠竹的韧劲与剑意的锋芒，仿佛一幅挥毫泼墨的水墨长卷。
在2.7版本，我们也将
and ink, brushes and stuff like that. That screams a lot of similarities to what is that girl that draws in Wuthering Wave? I almost said Genshin. No, in Wuthering Wave there's the girl from 1.2. Oh, I forgot. God damn it! I felt so bad because I forgot about her. The painter girl. Chuchi. There you go. Oh. That is so funny. His 5-star weapon is Emerald Sentence. Guys, guess. So I guess in a way, maybe I don't know if this is intentional or not, but maybe this is kind of in parallel to the standard weapon Emerald Genesis, and this is kind of signifies that the standard weapons are all like technology made by the Huanglong like state, like kind of like country, like basically from China. And that's why like there's similarities in the name even. I don't know. Maybe it's not intentional. Maybe they didn't plan that far, but maybe they did.
推出一把全新的五星训刀财竹，
是和球员的气质非常相配的一把武器。
内敛的布袋剑鞘与精美素雅的剑身，很雅致的设计呢。
这柄沉静如渊的剑，使用了古老又特殊的工艺，铸造于崇州的山林之中，其上镶嵌着玉石与竹叶作为点缀，竹影婆娑，淡雅如玉，仿佛竹林素素之声萦绕耳畔。而当球员使用它战斗时，剑身玉石将绽放清辉，同时剑刃也将染上浓墨，而此时的球员也将在墨意纵横中斩尽敌人。
财竹为锋，穿林打叶，希望这柄蕴藏着竹魂墨韵的剑，在球员手中锋芒尽现。那么，以上就是对2.7版本全新共鸣者加贝丽娜和球员的介绍。接下来，关于即将展开最终决战的场所，我们也一定带来了一些新的情报吧？
没错，我们即将在2.7版本开放新区域三王峰，这是
Three Heroes Crest
位于七丘桑古伊斯寿园最高处的山峰，因其独特的峰峦结构和3位英雄王造访的典故得名，被决斗士们视为心中的圣地。
Wait, is there like 2 new areas? Because this doesn't look like that castle from earlier.
传说每一位英雄王都将在此完成最后的磨砺，此后他们必将战胜命运，满载荣光。另外，除了这片新区域，我们还将随着剧情的发展，从三王峰前往明世创造的国度巡游天国。巡游天国是明世借由吸收黎纳西塔人的恐惧所构筑的虚假天堂。当明世汲取足够多的力量，便能让这个虚假的世界降临现实。
Okay, so it is true. Like this. Okay, so this is not a full descent. So that's why the city is kind of in like there's like still a floating thing outside. It's because like the descent is slowly happening but not complete. And that's why also why the design is like half Septimon, half Rina Sita. I mean, it makes sense. It's in half Raguna, because like it kind of like, I mean, it's based on their emotions and fear, right? And also like Leviathan is a Trinodian from this area.
实现自己的重生。
And also you can kind of see the stones in here. So I was right. Like this is definitely like a like I don't want to say copy, but I guess like Leviathan copied Septimon in a way.
并彻底将所有的黎纳西塔人变为他的傀儡，而我们也将在巡游天国进行最终的决战。同时，还有一个全新 COS 的4生骸也将在2.7版本中开放获取。除此之外，2.7版本也将推出全新的生骸和鸣套装粉羽
Flamewing Shadow. This is literally like a set for Galdraina.
猎魔之
This is probably literally her set.
漂泊者们可以在更新后前往全新的三王峰梦魇聚落，获取新生骸套装内的部分 COS 的1和 COS 的3生骸，分别是梦魇、绿容溪、梦魇、绿容溪智行。
What the hell? You're sleeping with. That is so funny.
梦魇刺梅菇智行。
Oh, this is the same as the old
好
Echo.
的，是时候为漂泊者们带来本次前瞻通讯的第2个兑换码啦。
好的，请漂泊者们查收，记得及时进入游戏兑换领取哦。
稍后会为各位漂泊者带来新版本活动以及系统优化的相关情报。
All right. Second code, risk everything. Let me copy that real quick. Let me type that real quick for everyone, so all people have to do is copy it instead of like. Okay, there you go. But now, let us skip forward.
换取的具体信息吧。
好的， 在2.7版本更新后，全新5星共鸣者加贝丽娜的活动换取余晖镜中将会率先开启，漂泊者们可以从中换取猎魔人加贝丽娜，与他一同猎杀黑潮造物。此外，5星共鸣者路帕的活动换取胜利为我喝彩也将同步开启。同时，全新5星配枪光影双生以及5星长刃焰痕的活动换取也将同期开启。
在以上换取活动结束后，全新5星共鸣者求远的活动换取镌刻不知身近远将会开启，漂泊者们可以从中换取来自黄龙的剑客求远，与他一起侠行此间，遍览江湖。5星共鸣者赞妮的活动换取行于光影之间也将同步开启，漂泊者们可以从中换取5星共鸣者赞妮。同时，5星驯刀财竹以及5星碧铠焰光财锭的活动换取也将同期开启。
已经迫不及待想和2位新共鸣者一起探索索拉里斯了。那么接下来我们给漂泊者介绍下2.7版本的其他版本活动吧。
好的，为了进一步的观测与调研黑潮，黑海岸也与黎纳西塔当地达成了模拟演习合作，这也是2.7版本中会推出的全新模拟演习活动——悲鸣行动索拉战士。
Combat event. Oh, I love that medal. Is this like gonna be like an icon or like a medal that you can kind of... Oh! Got that Avenger like endgame kind of like color with the whole purple thing and like also like how everyone is gathering together. Nice.
在活动中，漂泊者们将与加贝丽娜、尤诺、夏空一起进行模拟黑潮降临的对策演习。不同于以往的战术训练，这次的作战模式有些特别，需要测试者携带可自动攻击附近残像的武装，全力奔跑。
What the Wait, we're playing Vampire Survivor now.
借灵活走位，躲避残像的攻击与触碰，才能通过演习。残像的出没位置与频率不固定，随着残像来袭，测试者也可以通过主动释放技能和冲刺奔跑来应对。击杀残像可以获得强化模块，在成功通过当前波次后，即可使用强化模块购买不同的强化效果，以应对下一波次更加强大的敌人，并且随着关卡的推进，难度也将不断攀升，解锁测试者的各项天赋，更加从容地应对挑战吧。
一起通过
That looks kind of fun. It looks like something new, right? It's hopefully that's a permanent thing. I feel like game modes like this, it should be a permanent thing. I don't know, did they say anything about it being permanent?
并且随着关卡的推进，难度也将不断攀升，解锁测试者的各项天赋，更加从容地应对挑战吧。
一起通过操作与策略突破越来越难的关卡。
参与活动，漂泊者可以获得新生活动专属妓女印章、灯塔与黑花特别勋章、活动专属头像、灯塔与黑花等现实奖励。
有时候
Those profile icons are getting more and more detailed. I love it.
大家酣畅淋漓的战斗姿态，真希望可以记录下来。
你这个想法和那位先行公约的斐林先生很像呢。
是的，那接下来这个活动千万不要错过，一起捕捉共鸣者的精彩战斗瞬间吧。
Combat photography. Ooh.
超新影像特别企划。
So this is in a way a combat event, right? Because you have to do combat in order to like finish this event.
者战斗篇战斗拍照活动定格光影瞬息即将在2.7版本开启。在活动中，漂泊者每日会收到不同的定格摄影挑战，我们需要对拍摄目标，也就是我们的共鸣者伙伴们进行动作捕捉与拍摄。
但是每位共鸣者的战斗动作都行云流水的，捕捉起来感觉还是有些困难的吧？
不用担心，当共鸣者处于拍摄所需动作的状态时，就会自动触发迟缓效果。此时，共鸣者的动作将会大幅减慢，漂泊者就可以找准时机，精准观察，并捕捉到目标动作进行拍摄了，并且在完成
Wait. It's gonna slow down.
就会自动触发迟缓效果。
So you can take the perfect
共鸣者的动作将会大幅减慢，漂泊者就可以找准时
I
机。
guess they don't want to make it too hard, I guess.
捕捉到目标动作进行拍摄了，并且 在完成拍摄后，漂泊者们还可以选择不同
Oh
风格的
shit
滤镜，为自己的作品增添别样的风采。活动开放简单与困难2种难度模式，通关简单模式即可解锁困难模式。在困难模式中，漂泊者们还可以主动使用实缓道具进行拍摄哦。值得一提的是，通关后还将解锁该关卡的自由摄影模式。在该模式下，漂泊者们可以自由地拍摄共鸣者。
快来定格吧！相信漂泊者们都能记录下各种精彩的瞬间。
是的，另外
It better be permanent too.
完成活动也可获得新生、经验材料等奖励。同时，在2.7版本中，我们的朋友小机器人
Okay,
库里安
it's gonna be the
也将带着
typical
跑步
parkour
活动
event.
七丘气象前沿限时回归，一起帮助库里安在地
库里安
形高低错落的七丘收集检测数据吧。当然，参与活动可以获得新生、经验材料等奖励。
说到朋友啊，我们的另外一位老朋友，最近也有一些新的想法与尝试哦。
是谁呢？
物流的马季，
马季
没错又是他。他最近正在研究冰饮配送服务，带着乌企划融冰活动来了。完成相关任务即可获得。
It's really they definitely put effort into like naming all these Lalo campaign like different things and put like a different like background story to it. And I really appreciate them for doing it. At the same time, it's still gonna be the same event at the end of the day. I guess they're trying to like it's as if they're trying to like put a different coating on like all these like old cars, which I think is fair. And I guess that's like maybe that's the best way they can do it right now. And I don't know. Is this the last event? Let me see.
等各种奖励。此外，2.7版本将会新增全息战略荣耀狮象。这一次，荣耀狮象会拥有更强的战斗力与压迫感。期待。
Wait, that attack kind of reminds me of like the PGR. Like what was it again? Vanessa Veronica, I think.
漂泊者们前来挑战。
阔别已久了，等着我们的再度挑战吧。
当然，7日签到活动黎明赠礼也会在2.7版本更新后准时与大家见面，记得登录领取哦。除此以外呢，伴随着球员的脚步，落眼凤歌活动。
Judging by how they're doing gifts and stuff, I guess like there's not much event happening right now, which I think personally, it's both disappointing and expected. I guess when a patch is so heavy on the story, you kind of want to put a lot of the focus on the actual story, and the fact that we get a segue after that means that like technically there's 3 part of the main story, right? Where there's like you got the Act 10, Act 11, and the segue. So I feel like it makes sense that when the patch is super dense in terms of like the story content, for the events to be like for them to have like less events, because like you want the story to be the main dish, right? The main attraction. And I think like the justification can only be made once we see how long that main event is. I think that there should be it either has to be like really in depth, or it has to be like actually like long. And I'm talking about like, you know, not just like 3 or 4 hours, but maybe 6, like 3 hours between the 2 missions, or maybe even 7 or 8. Like, so like, no, maybe like I want to say 7. So like 3 hours of the first act, 3 hours of the second act, and maybe the last hour would be like the segue, like, you know, half an hour to an hour ish. And that would kind of justify that. Like, I think that would like, at least in like a lot of people's mind, would probably justify the lack of side events and side content, because they can be like, oh, okay, like, you know, it makes sense now. They put they put so much story in this patch, like they probably couldn't, like, you know, they had to like pull resources from the other, like the side content, and like put like have the people focus on the main story instead. And like, considering that we also get, like, keep in mind, we also technically are getting 2 new areas, which is like the 3 heroes like peak, or like rest or something, and like the journeying paradise itself, right? And depending on how big that map itself, it's kind of that's technically content. And like, depending on how much exploration you can do on those 2 areas, that's also a side content technically, right? Exploration is part of the kind of like the content too. So we'll probably have to see, because so far most of the story quests are like closer to like 2 or 3 hours, maybe like 4 for like the bigger ones, are like the ones that have like 2 parts. I'd say it's like probably closer to like 2.5 3 hours, and then 1 hour or so with the last part. So I'm hoping that this one will be like, if you want to end like kind of like an era, you better end it with a bang. It's kind of like how a Marvel, like I keep bringing out the Marvel comparison, but this is basically kind of like, end game better be good. It better be long. It better be dense. It better be satisfying, and it better be good, right? Because like when you're at the end of the story, you don't do a lot of side quests anymore, right? Like if you're playing Elden Ring and you're about to beat, you're about to fight the last boss of the game, you don't exactly have a lot of like branching path anymore. It's usually a linear path towards the end, and this is the kind of vibe we're getting. I just hope they actually deliver, right? Because now they don't have any fallback. Like, this gotta be good.
也将在后续开启。
And I mean, they've been delivering so far. So I had hopes. I'm not gonna put too much, like, I'm excited for it, but I am gonna keep some skepticism around just in case.
登录游戏即可领取签到奖励。那么以上就是2.7版本的各种活动情报了。
接下来是不是应该给漂泊者们带来游戏优化情报了？
是的，那就由我来给大家介绍吧。首先，2.7版本将新增共鸣者培养方案，更新后，漂泊者们可以在角色界面点击培养方案进入。系统会根据漂泊者的索拉等级，为所有共鸣者自动匹配对应的养成方案。培养方案共有角色、武器、生骸及技能4个模块，在角色模块中会统计展示共鸣者养成所需的材料。对于所缺材料，可选择直接前往获取。在武器和生骸这2个培养模块中，会包含推荐方案，以便漂泊者选择合适的武器及生骸搭配。技能方案则分为基础方案和完美方案，漂泊者们可以根据自己的需求自由切换。另外，漂泊者在共鸣者培养方案中还可以提前一定时间获取后续即将上线的共鸣者养成信息预告，以便更好地筹备相关材料。
Oh, they want to help people pre-farm even easier. That is so funny, because this would definitely like demolish like a lot of like the like this would I think there's two impact that's happening to this. First of all, this kind of help fight leakers, because if you have this preview thing happening like early enough, like the leaks no longer, people would be much less dependent on leaks. At the same time, these like convenience also gonna affect a lot of like content creator, because like it will be much harder to make content when like content creation for this game is gonna be even harder, because now you cannot even like cover all this like basic things. And like, a lot of the time your video is probably gonna be has to be like cut short. Like you're gonna have to like you're gonna either to have like to offer more opinions, and like rather than straight up like listing, hey, like, because usually people will be like, hey, like, if you want to pre-farm for this character, here's the farming plays that you gotta do. But now they do it all in game, so people don't even have to like watch those contents. So people in the content creation will have to come up with something different and more unique, and in a way that makes the job harder, in a way, like for the content creator, not for the player. The player will have it more easier now, because now instead of like searching on YouTube, now you can just open the game and read it inside the game.
是很方便的系统更新呢。
是啊。
希望这个优化能够让大家
Or maybe not. Maybe the content creators will be able to use them to like just to do like a quick showcase, like, hey, this is what you all need, and then they open the game and then they just show those, like, instead of like making a like graphic design and like designing all this like table and stuff like that, they can just showcase inside the game and be like, this is what you need, right? But technically that also affect their content, because now it's gonna be like that segment is gonna be a lot shorter. So now you gotta like fill the gap with something else. So it's a plus minus, I guess.
还记得我们在2.6版本新增的武器图鉴百战断行吗？同样的，在2.7版本万物图鉴还会新增一个全新的图鉴分类——千般强敌。漂泊者可以在这里集中查看在索拉里斯探索过程中所击败过的所有敌人信息哦。另外，我们将在深海培养界面增加深海数据重构的入口，方便漂泊者们对当前深海进行数据重构。 并且对于在数据物内重构成功的深海，也会增加跳转提示。漂泊者们可以直接点击跳转到此深海的培养界面进行培养。
Interesting。
在2.7版本中，我们对于部分系统也做了迭代优化。首先，我们将在任务系统新增漂泊行迹界面，漂泊者可在任务界面左下角点击对应按钮进入。
没错。 记得在2.4版本，我们就对于故事发展做了剧本功能的尝试。西瓜，快给我们介绍下这个新系统吧。
在漂泊行迹中，漂泊者可以看到潮汐任务，也就是常说的主线剧情的不同章节。每个章节都将以幕为节点进行记录，希望这些由一幕幕、一张张组成的故事的拼图，可以更好地让大家了解索拉里斯。在后续版本中。 漂泊行迹还将加入更多与剧情相关度高的支线内容，并配上相关的任务指引。
哦，这个很清晰呢。
没错，希望能让漂泊者拥有更好的游戏剧情体验。
同时
，Do you know what would improve my story experience? Kuro games, being able to go back and watch the cinematics again, or see the PNGs again at least, see the scenes. Like journey log is nice, but like so far, at least from what they're showing right now, it's just basically a big story map where they just like a storyboard where they just like, here's what happened here, here's what happened here, here's what happened there, but you don't get the detail of what is happening in those acts. I feel like if you were able to go back and like watch those scenes and stuff like that, it would definitely help more. And like, it's not like you already have that in the game file. Just let us access it.
我们也会在游戏内大部分界面新增返回世界按钮。当漂泊者进入一些页面层级后，若想直接返回游戏主界面，则直接点击界面右上角的这个按钮就可以了。
省时省力，一步到位。
没错。 不过，在一些需要漂泊者手动编辑与保存设置的界面，暂不支持该功能哦。这也是为了保护大家的编辑操作不被误触、意外中断。
贴心。
对了，活动界面即将。
And also, I feel like I don't know. She is pretty, but she's not adding a lot. I feel like they should just bring back Solon and be like, W, this is so player friendly. I don't know, I don't do Chinese that well, so.
升级活动分类更加清晰，我们将限时活动划分为推荐活动与周期活动2个类别。在推荐活动中，会优先展示最新上线的限时活动、签到活动等内容，而一些规律性开放的活动，如签到门扉的异响、鸣歌海须等活动，将会出现在周期活动页签中，方便漂泊者们快速找到并前往。 漂泊者们可以根据最左侧的分类页签快速找到对应的活动哦。同时，在地图界面中，周期活动也将新增一个更加直观的汇总界面。漂泊者们可以在这里收到周期活动提醒，并查看当前的完成进度啦。
确实省去了不少找活动的时间呢。
可能有的漂泊者在前面介绍的时候已经注意到了，在完成2.7版本的潮汐任务后，漂泊者即可获取可替换的终端道具诅咒徽
Oh, can we equip that?
黎纳西塔的提
Ooh,
灯
nice.
是可以装备上的吗？
是的，没错。漂泊者的终端替换系统即将上线，在获得诅咒徽粒后，就可。
they're introducing so much of this like cosmetic items, but they rarely sell anything. They've yet to like release, like they've released all these like new ideas, right? Oh, new skins, weapon skins, glider skins, and now terminal skins, but then you didn't, you know. And then the only skin you can use is literally two skins: the skins that you have, the default skin, and the new skin that you introduce with the feature, and then that's it. And then they never added more again. And I'm like, why? You have these so many collabs that you were doing with other companies, and you didn't use those materials. It doesn't make sense. Especially when a lot of people have been asking, like, hey, like, this is like a whole new avenue that you can use to like kind of monetize the game, right? Like, for example, like I've been like hoping that Kuro Games would actually sell the game's music now that they're actually on Steam, right? Instead of like their own launcher in a way, like, now that they're on Steam, I was hoping they would like sell like kind of like deluxe edition of sort of like where kind of like, for example, like Expedition 33, or like something like, games that usually have their own like OST and being sold. And I know that like the OST is available on like Spotify and like streaming services, but I was hoping that like they would be willing to like sell the high quality version, like a FLAC files, like of the songs and the musics, and like being able to play them like locally would also be really great. And also you can sell it, like, you don't have to sell it all like expensive, like typical like BGM pack usually is like $10, $5, $10, right? So like that's like an extra way they could have made money. And this is yet another avenue that they could have gone to, like skins. Like if you guys don't know, like there's an upcoming game like Ananta and NTE and DNA Doing Abyss. Like these are like all anime games like that are about to come like in the next couple months, or even like, I think Ananta and NTE is like next year, and DNA is coming in next month. And like these games are gonna be like at least Ananta and NTE, and at least Ananta and DNA is gonna be it's already ditching gacha system and gonna be like gonna be focusing their monetization on skins, like just like the other games. And like a lot of people have been like, I feel like a lot of people are some like, it's been like garnering positive attention, because like I feel like there's a bit of like we're reaching like a saturation point on like gacha games. Like people only have so much money, and like I know that you still have to spend money on all these like skins too, but like the problem is that like spending money for power, for gameplay power, I feel like is really a big quote unquote gamble. Like for example, like one of the reasons I quit Honkai Star Rail, right? It's because like my investment, the money that I've spent on the character, I like I've said this before on stream, but like when I'm getting an E6 character, like a maximum, when I maxed out a character's rank, I do it because of two things. First, because of they have good meta, and second of all, because I like the character. If it's only one of the two, I will not be maxing out my character, like the character. And the problem is that like when the character kind of affects the meta has to shift at some point, right? And I think Wuthering Waves so far has been doing a better job than like most other games in terms of um um keeping the balance pretty reasonable, that like even characters from like the oldest patch, which is like Jian and Yinlin, can still keep up. But you cannot do it forever, right? And like tying your monetization to player power will can eventually, like, I don't want to say will, because some people only, some people spend money because they love the character only, like, they don't care about the meta. It's just like they wanted to spend the money with the character. But like I feel like there's a good chunk of people out there that spend money on the game because they wanted to feel powerful. And you know it could ended up like being like what happened to me in Honkai Star Rail is that like I spent all this money, especially with the price of like the poles, right? Like if it costs you like $10 to get 10 poles. No, if it costs you $10 to get 10 poles, I think most people like it will be much more reasonable. But as it currently is, every pole costs like $2, and you need like 80 poles or 90 poles on most gacha games to get a guarantee. So in a way, when you're budgeting for something, you want to target the guarantee, right? So a guaranteed character in Wuthering Wave, for example, a guaranteed 5-star costs $160, and a guaranteed character in Genshin Impact costs $180, which is something that is like really hard for people to do, like for a lot of people to do. And I feel like if they kind of like sub like supplement that with like an actual like skin monetization, which is optional, but we've seen how much people would spend on optional things. I feel like it could help balance out that way. They're not fully dependent on the meta, like on like on the character monetization. I guess it's basically just like putting your egg, like splitting up your eggs and not putting all of them in the one basket. I guess that's just what I wanted to say. I cannot like really like kind of like fully explain in detail right now because my thoughts is all over the place, but that's basically what I wanted to say. Like they could have like diversify their system. That way they're not too dependent on one or the other.
可以自由切换漂泊者所携带的终端款式啦，并且在本次更新后，我们对武器的展示也进行了优化。其中，驯刀类武器的展示界面将拆分为刀鞘与刀身，或者剑鞘与剑身的展示。
Oh shit！
就比如我们前面提到的全新武器财竹，在武器展示界面里会更加细节地展示武器样式，方便漂泊者们查看。
对于我这种武器爱好者来说，喜欢。
在过往的版本中，我们曾尝试开发了一些场景交互效果。在2.7版本，
Oh shit！
我们进一步优化调整了场景交互效果以及画面细节。
Okay, so previously, they added interaction with the environment, right, where the weapon, like the attacks, would cause the leaves to fly out and stuff. And I think now they added like kind of like a when they say refine interaction, I think they're talking about like when they actually follow the direction of the movement. So for example, when the wind is like spinning, the leaves are actually spinning, instead of like previously when like there's a wind, basically like it's a basic interaction back then. When there's wind, leaf blows, but now when there's wind, leaves blows with the wind, basically.
将会有更多角色动作以及技能可以与场景产
This
生
is so
交互细
cool.
节
Holy
希
shit.
望能为漂泊者们带来更加沉浸的游戏体验。
They can blow it away too. Holy shit, that's a full on physics.
PC 端的全局滤镜功能
That's a full physics
在经过了
interaction.
一段时间的测试和反馈收集，现在全局滤镜功能将可以在全平台使用了。在2.7版本更新后，使用移动端游玩明朝的漂泊者们也可以自由选择多种风格滤镜，体验不同的视觉效果啦。
Oh,
并且
that's nice.
伴随全平台全局滤镜的功能更新，我们也带来了此项功能的更多应用拓展，这就是护眼模式。漂泊者们打开设置页面，在全局滤镜设置选项下方即可找到护眼模式选项。点击进入详情界面后，可自定义调整色温、亮度、纹理强度、护眼模式。
Can we actually finally make the game like not washed out at all? Like previously, we've been like the only thing we can do right now so far, right, has been like turning down the brightness all the way till the end, and then trying to crank up the contrast and the vibrancy. But I've noticed that when you crank out the contrast too much on the game, skins get way too shiny. So I was hoping that they would add it at a setting where you can boost the shadows instead. And I've been doing it with NVIDIA Game Filter so far because I'm playing on a PC. And I've noticed that like that NVIDIA Game Filter actually kind of like impacts your performance the more filter you use. So I would really very much rather not do that, especially with how heavy the newer areas have been so far. I'm running a 4090, guys, and like sure it's 4K maxed out with ray tracing and everything like that, but like this is I was not expecting my GPU to be struggling that much, because I think I was getting like in the 80s or 90s FPS out of like 120. And also I was hoping I'm hoping that like for a more refined like I said earlier in the stream, a more granular settings, right? Instead of like a fixed FPS cap, I was hoping that they would allow us to pick whichever FPS we want to cap on, like 0 to 120 for example, like more granularity, and maybe even higher limit, right? Maybe like 240 for example, especially when you have frame gen. I think frame gen already exceeded that. Because but basically I want to do that because sometimes when I'm streaming, for example, I cannot exactly reach 120 when I'm streaming. But I also, it's kind of sad for me to be stuck on 60 frames when I know I can get more. Like maybe if I can like change it to 75 or something like that. And instead of adding options for that, why don't you just let us like pick whatever number it is between 0 and 120, right? That would make just much more sense. Especially when you know the engine allows it, like it's an Unreal Engine, like, you know, and it's not like some custom engine.
模式强度的。此外，为了方便大家快速使用，我们也为大家
And the fact that like these colors, bright light and low light, perfect. Holy shit. They call it eye comfort, right? But I think this is the ultimate filter game. Like you don't need NVIDIA game filter anymore, especially if this is available out of the box on phones. Oh, this is gonna be such a game changer, in my opinion. And if you think about it, this game has been the only gacha game I have played so far that has in-game filter. Okay. And not just for screenshots, but for the full gameplay. You can have this filter on. Like, you know, it's not just like available like only during photo mode or only available on this area or something like that. Like, no, like this is a global game filter. You can change it and like it'll affect your whole gameplay, your whole experience, and like, man, this is as close as you can get to like a full-on AAA experience, honestly. And I love Kuro games for doing stuff like this.
大家预设了强光与弱光的使用方案，漂泊者们可以根据游玩场景的明暗情况进行选择。应用后
Oh, so the bright light and the low light is that you can change all these settings depending on the lighting in the game. Oh, that is so good. That is see, this is the kind of granularity that I'm hoping for. That will be like implemented in all parts of the games, right? Not just the filters. Like you know, instead of like adding like a global eye comfort setting, they give us the eye comfort setting for you know, basically morning, afternoon, and night kind of thing, right? Like different time of the day, because like different time of the day have different lightings, and being able to like adjust all three of them differently to kind of like make it as close as possible with each other, like in terms of like atmosphere. It's like the kind of granularity and like the kind of like fine-tuned control that I wish I could have in like a lot of like other parts of the game.
与画面观感，希望这项优化能帮助漂泊者们减少用眼负担，健康游戏。不过需要注意的是，全局滤镜与护眼模式无法同时开启，漂泊者们请根据自己的需求选择其中一项使用哦。那么以上就是对 2.7 版本中即将更新的优化情报分享啦。更多信息请关注官方后续公告。
好的，感谢两位的前瞻情报。那么接下来还有关于未来明朝的品牌活动与周边的最新消息要和大家分享。
没错，无限的自由，青春的律动，明朝将与水
Moondrop, holy shit. Okay, here's a little bit of a guess. This is gonna be like how the earphone looks, like the case looks. I'm saying it now. This is how the earphone's gonna look. Like it's gonna be like a tube case, which I think would be kind of like unique, you know. But I really hope. Oh wait, they already showcased it. It's gonna be kind of like an earring. Oh no. See, I don't like this design. I don't like this open design. Not gonna lie. I was really looking forward to buying it. But now I'm doubting myself because I really hate open design. Open design, there's like basically two downsides in open designs. First of all, the sound can leak out because it's open, obviously. And second of all, because it's open, you don't have bass. And in order to have bass, usually you would have to crank the volume up, which brings you to the first problem, that is that like people around you can hear it. And I sometimes, sometimes I just don't want people to hear what I'm hearing. Hopefully they have two versions. Hopefully they're doing the open one, and hopefully they're doing an actual normal in-ear earbuds. Oh, because I really want to buy them. Shit. Damn it. Oh yeah, they literally said it. Clip-on earbuds. No way. I hate you, Kuro Games. You always like bring my expectations so high just to drop me down. I hate this so much. Why does it have to be clip-on? They should have done like a. You know what? Maybe if this is successful, they should have at least added two options, right? Like, I don't know why they put their bets on specific, like, strictly just the clip-on earbud. Clip-on earbuds, in my opinion, is such like still like an outlier. I feel like most people would still be using like in-ears instead of clip-ons. Like I mean, it's I probably like the numbers are probably not that far different, but I feel like the majority of people would still be using like in-ears, like a more traditional design. I want to say probably like maybe 70-30, maybe like 30% you're using like clip-ons, open ear and stuff like that, and like the other 70 are still using the closed back or like the in-ears and stuff like that, like the older, like the more general and more normals, like a more I don't want to say normal because like it makes it seems like the open design is not normal, but like more widespread, I guess. I'm buying this. Official artwork, they better have a book on it, and they better ship worldwide. Like I've been like really kind of like holding back and buying Wuthering Waves like figurines, mostly because of like space issue. I bought a lot of like Honkai Star like figures that I've yet to open now because I just don't have the space to like kind of display them. But like books, I can definitely get into books. I'm definitely buying this whenever as long as it's available worldwide and like it's not really that hard to get.
将悉心收录大量角色与场景设定等内容，为漂泊者们揭晓游戏背后的世界，敬请期待。另外，明朝星火系列尤诺1:7比例手办即将推出。
First of all, that's gorgeous. Second of all, holy details, like those fingies.
哇，是很惊人的
toes.
是的。 希望这抹月光可以陪伴漂泊者。手办将于今年。
You know what they could do? If they make this like instead of like resin, if they actually put crystals on this, it kind of shines. I don't think it's gonna be like that because I think this is gonna be like a low cost, like more widely available. But I'm hoping someone else out there would actually do ones where like the whole thing can shine. Because I would. You know what? You forget what I said earlier. Like if there's like a figurine that's actually kind of can shine and has like lighting on it, I'm buying that shit, bro.
内开售，更多手办企划也正在筹备中，详情敬请关注库洛游戏周边官方信息。另外，明朝晴日赴约主题周边也将在不久后与漂泊者们见面。
See how like all these characters have like unique design. They could have just added this, like, turn this into skins. $5, $10, any way you can make more money. You might as well. That's the whole point of the game, right? to make money, and a lot of people have been asking for it anyway.
觉空气中都弥漫着咖啡的香气，非常惬意呢。
本次企划将在线下快闪活动
And it's
先行
not
首发更
it's not like they have to do it every single patch, right? They could have, like, especially when they had a lot of like filler patch in between. Like I think they've been on this pattern of like main patch filler, main filler, main filler, main filler kind of like rhythm, except like this last part where it's like a full on main quest. But I feel like whenever they do the filler stuff, they could have like put in like, you know, weapon skins, character skins, and all that kind of stuff.
更多活动信息与周边情报将于近期发布，也请漂泊者们关注酷乐游戏周边后续官方情报啦。那么以上就是本次前瞻通讯的全部品牌联动及周边情报了。
是的，本次前瞻通讯也差不多要到尾声了。现在为漂泊者们送上本次前瞻通讯的最后一个兑换码吧。
漂泊者们记得及时进入游戏兑换领取哦。
Alright, and here's the last code, Fight for Hope. There you go, you feel free to copy that, and we're gonna skip forward.
感谢漂泊者们的观看。回看这段在黎纳西塔的旅程，时光悄然流淌，我们真的一起经历了很多。两位策划有没有什么话想要和漂泊者们
？Personally, this is I think in a way this is kind of the worst preview so far because of her. I'm not saying she's bad or anything like that, but she felt so stiff here. It feels like she's a third party, right? I don't it doesn't feel like she's a part of the team, because like when you're like seeing like there's this vibe that you get when the devs themselves actually deliver it. Like you can kind of see that they fumbled a lot, and they're not professional talker, and they would have a hard time sometimes to explain things like and talk in front of like the public and stuff. But I think that like there's a sense of like authenticity while like watching her while she's pretty, and she's definitely really good to look at. This whole questioning part and stuff like that, this feel like, I know it's scripted, but the way she's delivering it feels much more scripted than like if this is like Solon that asking like, oh, what do you mean? Do you guys have any last words and like stuff like that? Like you know, like there's difference. She had this aura of like sense of like professionalism and like kind of like a work aura instead of like having fun.
说的呢？
So personally, I don't know. I kind of like the older previews more, where like it's all the devs.
走来，黎纳西塔。
I think like the sense of like amateurism, like from like the hosts when they're talking, like them fumbling around and then like them getting excited. Like I feel like some of the excitement feels actually real when we're seeing the developers, compared to like when we're seeing her, which is like straight up like a professional host. That's the vibe I'm getting.
在了我们的足迹，很珍惜这段回忆。我们在拉古纳绚烂的烟火之下共度狂欢节，与伙伴们携手经历了一次次冒险，也于呼号中见证了属于七丘的史诗。
是的，那些黎纳西塔深埋的秘密，也伴随着我们的前进脚步，渐次揭晓。这一次，我们将与伙伴们并肩而立，踏上最终战场，为黎纳西塔的命运而战，也为那必将到来的黎明而战。明朝2.7版本《暗潮将映的黎明》将于10月9日正式开启。
漂泊者们，让我们直面最汹涌的黑暗，在中烟之地去感受、去战斗、去亲自迎接曙光出现的破晓。那么，最后10月9日，
一起见证黎纳西塔的终章吧！
Is there any? Okay, I think to close off, let's listen to this song, and I want to see if I can kind of predict how the story's gonna be based on the songs. So earlier part, I think we're probably gonna be encountering Colbrena. There's like a sense of mystery. So I think this is like like encounter. It's gonna be an encounter with Colbrena at first, and then she's gonna start telling you like her missions and stuff. Like the music has like there's like I think the design, the music design for this is definitely like have like a lot of like influence from like the earlier version of the game, especially in 1.0 and like in the Huanglong, in the 1.x, you know, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, where like there's a bit of like EDMs and like much more like technological. Like it's, you know how in Rina Sita a lot of the songs are much more old like classical music, and like now, like I'm not saying it's full on classic, I'm just saying like there's a lot of more like influence from like Huang Long. So I think like this like in this story of the in this patch of the game, there's gonna be like we're finally, I think in terms of the story, we're finally going back into the main story that we had, like the main telling, like storytelling that we had in the first game. Like I think the whole point of the patch, this patch, is gonna be like it's gonna be tying back into the earlier part of the story in the game, like our mission in Solaris 3, for example, and stuff like that. Because like I think like so far, the quest that we had in Rina Sita has been mostly us getting to know about Rina Sita itself and its character, while like we're stepping closer toward our target. But like for the most part, we are experiencing a lot of the other characters' story, right? We're experiencing Carlota's story, Brand's story, Zani's story, and Shakona's and Cartitia and Cantarella, and like everyone's, like, you know, we're seeing their character story, we're learning about them, we're getting to know them, and that's good and all. I'm not saying that's bad, but I'm just saying that I feel like maybe some people have like forgotten like what is like our like true mission in a way, because of like how little they've been talking about it throughout the game. And I'm not saying it's zero, because they definitely talk about it every time, like about like what is our mission here and stuff like that. But it's like it feels like when you're playing an open world game and you're getting sidetracked, right? Like you're still making progress in the main story. It's just like a lot of the time you're spending are on the exploration and on the side content instead. And now I think like based on this music, where like there's this influence, like there's a lot of like this like synth and like kind of like EDM, like electric kind of like music, and like this robotic thing that we had in like the it's much closer to the vibe that we had in the music in the first version, in the version 1. So I'm assuming the story is gonna try to, I think like this ending is gonna try to tie us back and bring us back into the main quest, that like the true main quest that we have. I hope that's like a good explanation, like from my end. I don't know if I've managed to like kind of like get across the point that I have in my mind. There's like the big organ music. Organ usually is like kind of like symbolizes to either two things, either like kind of like royalty, or like kind of like a greatness, like a sense, yeah, a sense of like glory. And also it can kind of symbolizes kind of like evil. For example, like Dracula, right? Like Castlevania, like doo 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 doo. I don't know if I don't know if I'm in tune enough to like do that. But like, you know, I think if you know, if you know about those scenes, like when you enter like an evil, like a dark castle, and like there's the organ started playing, and then like, what brings you to my castle, and stuff like that. Like, you know, I hope that's a good enough explanation from my end. And considering the this note that comes after, I feel like it went from, so I'm guessing it's leaning more toward the high evil, like as the evil kind of like as you fight the evil, there's like some sort of hope coming true. There's a bit of like this, like those like soft like girl voice in the background as like the organ plays. So like it feels like even though evil is like right all around you, there's like this like sliver of hope. So there's a pause there. So I'm assuming what happened is that like I think this part of the story kind of tells you like right after, possibly right after the Cartetia versus Colbrena's battle. I'm assuming because there's a bit of like a change of pace there in the music. So I'm assuming something happened to Cartetia there because like that. This sounds like it's the song is kind of descending. So I think things have taken a turn for the worse. So like you know, first of all, you've seen the evil, and then there's a bit of like a path that you see, like there's a bit of a clue of a path that you can follow. So you follow that path, and then turns out that path brought you into like a worse place because now like the situation is getting more and more dire, I think. But even in that dire state of the thing, like there's this like rhythm. And if you think about it, the rhythm is kind of like it's similar. It's not the same, but it's really similar than the rhythm that we have in the Saving Light, especially in the earlier part, like like I think in the Saving Light, and dung 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 dung. Like when the Saving Light starts, like in the login screen, like I guess like the easiest people like visualize will be like in the login screen. Let me see if I can find something to help people visualize that. Login screen, login team. But I'm talking about this part. See this part. That even though the sound, even though the music is kind of like somber, like there's like this rhythm. It's kind of like the character, even through all this like somberness, like he keeps like running towards like his path, down his path, like towards a certain goal. At least that's what I'm getting. So like that's the pattern I'm talking. There's like constant, right? It's like it's as if like the character is kept running despite all this like darkness and like evil that is surrounding him. So that's so I'm assuming that when that song ends earlier, right? That's the end of the Act 11, Act 10. I mean, and then now is the song for Act 11. Like it's still continuing the somber feeling from the ending of the first part, but there's a bit of like. There's the hope is kind of like louder now. I think there's like a revelation of new information. I think like maybe Cartetia died right in the first part, and then in the second part it was like the truth is she's not really dead. Like if you want to save her, you have to reach the Journey Paradise and face the Leviathan or something like that and save her. And I think that's like the part where like Galbrena joins in, and like the scene that we saw earlier. And so like we continue forward. And the song is getting more rowdy, right? and then there's this bit of evil, so like you're pushing through the forest like of darkness, and then you reach the journeying paradise with the organ, right? The royalty, the sense of evil, like the evil royal, the royal evil. And then there's a bit of emotions playing down here, so I think like maybe along the way, it's kind of like this typical like shonen like friend, the power of friendship, where like every time the main character push forward, some of their friends stop and like, you guys go ahead, I'll catch up to you later, kind of thing, you know. And I think that also happened in the first in the 1.0 story, right, where like when they were pushing in with Jian, and Jansen would stop and like, you guys go ahead, we got this, and then Yuanwu would like, it's okay, like you can go, and stuff like that. And then I think you finally meet the real bad guy here. And even though there's this big evil that you have to fight for, the rhythm's still the same. No matter what the challenge lies in front of you, you will keep pushing forward. And also there's like that fixed rhythm of like the clock ticking. I think that's also kind of like signifies like how like the time is like counting down of sort, I think. So I think it's a good thing that they ended the song here, because like it in a way, right? So far, I've been predicting what's going on. I'm not sure if this is right or not. I am not a music specialist or anything like that. I'm going based off like feelings and like kind of like logical predictions. I just played a lot of video games basically, and listened to a lot of music. But by ending the songs right around here, right, they basically kind of like making sure that the ending of this story stays hidden, because so far right now, I think the song, like based on like what I've been saying so far, right, the song ends right around the time you finally encountered, like, we finally met my nemesis, like, you know, the one that I need to like defeat. But who knows, will you actually defeat them? Will you be able to save them? Like the song didn't tell you any of that, like, because the song stops once you reach them. And I think they're gonna have the more songs coming, obviously, but it's really good that they did not include it on this trailer, because now we know that like there's more to this story that they didn't show in the trailer and in the teaser and in the preview and everything like that. So yeah, honestly, it's a really good preview. I just like it's promising, and I just hope it delivers. You know, I mean, their motto is we promise, we deliver. So I'm just, so we're at the promise part. We're just waiting for the delivery. But okay, I think that should be enough for today's stream. It's been 2 hours. The video is less than an hour, and I've somehow made it into 2 hours with it. I am sorry for the people, but I really hope that like listening to me talking and like hearing the stuff that I had in my mind is entertaining for you guys. If you guys are ever interested in like discussing about it more, feel free to stop by my stream next time, or leave a comment in this video, because I'm definitely going to be uploading this on my YouTube later. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end my stream here. Thank you so much for watching, whether you guys lurking, chatting, playing with me. I appreciate you all, and I hope I'll see you guys again on my next stream, whenever that is. But for now, I'm a ciao. Goodbye, people. Bye-bye.